everyone! I'm Christine from Canada Music Lessons, and today we are continuing to look at the hymn, I Need Thee Every Hour. We've been walking through how to take our hymn from beginner level to intermediate level. Last week we learned how to add chords to our melody, so be sure to check that out. Today in part 3, Corey Taylor is going to demonstrate how to play our chords with different voicings. If you're interested in more free music lessons, be sure to subscribe and like this video. Let's jump into part 3 of our lesson.
Now, we don't have to voice our chords like this. So what I've been doing is playing triad in the right hand and one note in the left hand. And that's one way to voice, but there are many, many more. Let's flip it. Let's play the triad in the left hand and the melody in the right hand. So let's see. Right? So you could play it like that. That's another way to play it. Or you could have both hands participate in the chord making process. So I spread the chord out between my two hands. So I have a C, G, E in my left hand here, but I also have it. Right. And I'd probably take out this G in my left hand. So I have, there we go. So I spread the chord between my two hands. If I'm simply playing a triad. And you notice the only note I doubled is the melody. Right. Now this is
a question for your voicing, Corey. I notice on your left hand you're going from your C to your E, which is a 10th. Is there a split voicing, like where we can use both hands, but for people with tiny hands? So for me, for example, I can only go in eight notes.
Right.
Is there a nice one that they could try?
Sure. So anytime you encounter a 10th, the third is perfectly fine. So you can do that. So you can play it like that, or now, if I wasn't always able to reach a 10th, and you can definitely grow your width, the span of your hand. But there are techniques to do it even with the smaller hand. So I know a lot of ladies have smaller hands, and I've seen a lot of ladies use this particular technique I'm about to tell you, which is like a slight roll. So like this.
Okay.
So, but the hold stays the same, better down. Like that. Or you should simply go a third. Right. Now, if you notice, the only note I'm doubling is the melody. Why? Well, the notes that you double are louder. They become the notes, the dominant notes. So what happens oftentimes in churches, especially when you're having to play piano by yourself, you really focus on the bottom end, the bass, and you get octaves. And so your chord, let's look at this. I have a C here, a C here, and a C here. My sound is dominated by C's. You can't hear the rest of the chord versus, or it's a different sound. So I like to have both my hands participate in the chord. So my left hand's still playing the root, but I have the chord, one of the notes of the chord here with my thumb, and then my right hand's playing the chord, and I have the melody in my right, the top note. So I have the root and the melody on the outside voices, and each of my hands is participating in playing one of the notes of the chord, right? And so that's definitely a way that you can practice playing these things. Here's even a simpler way. This is really simple. Is simply playing the voicing. So if I play the song, and whatever the note is in the middle, I play it in my left hand. This is kind of a drop 2 idea.
That's a beautiful sound.
So you end up losing the bass because your left hand's not playing the root anymore. It's playing the note in the middle. But if you have a band with you, or you have somebody playing bass or an organist, or if you're on organ, you're able to play the bass with your foot. Then you
Mhm.
can, and your hands can be playing the chord and moving like this together.
That sounds so nice. Would you be able to show us one of those chords, just slowly showing which note they're moving down there?
Sure. So it's important to remember the original chord. So here's the first chord. So let's take the first three chords.
Great.
So, so remember C major, we said D minor here, and then C major, right? So the middle note on this first one is C. So I'm going to take it here and put it in my left hand. But I'm going to take it out of my right hand. The second chord is D minor. So the middle note is A. So I'm going to take it out of my right hand and put it in my left hand. The third chord is C major. So I'm going to take it out of my right hand and put it in my left hand. So the next chord, if we keep going, is G major. So I'm going to take this G, the middle is G, and put it in my left hand. And then the last chord of this first phrase is back to C. And the middle note is G. So look at that. I went from this G to this C major, and still the middle note is G, so that my left hand didn't have to move. So and each voicing type lends a different sound. If I have the chord in my right hand and the root down here, it's going to sound pretty full, right? If I have the chord in my left hand, it's not going to be as full because I'm not playing the root. It's going to sound a little less full. If I split it between both hands, it's going to sound pretty full, actually, really full and balanced. Sounds bigger, sounds fuller, sounds. And I personally like to play like this. Sometimes I play like, but this sounds thin to me versus sounds a little bit fuller. And there's the sound of opening up and playing in the drop two. That has an interesting sound to it. And you can have fun with that. Sorry. So different ways to
Beautiful.
voice it.
Yeah. So with changing your voicing, if someone's never done that before, for example, that one you play, I think it was number three, where you have a couple notes in the left hand, a couple notes in the right hand. If someone wanted to try that and start adding that into the repertoire, how would you recommend they start learning it? Would they go one chord at a time, just like you're doing with us, and kind
Right.
of counting them out?
Right.
Or how do they get used to doing that for a whole song?
Um, well, well, the short answer is slow practice.
Okay, that's what
Short
I
answer is
thought
slow
you'd
practice.
say.
Um, uh, a little more detailed answer is as I'm playing, um, I'm thinking, what's the root of the chord? What's the melody? What's missing? This is a C major chord. What's left to play? Well, I need a G somewhere. There we go. Right now, this chord doesn't sound really full. Maybe I'll take the C down, but it still feels a little empty. Can I double something? And if I want to double something, the thing you want to start with doubling is the melody. So let's start there. And all of a sudden, it sounds fuller. Now, what most happens is people double the root. And we've talked about that. That tilts the chord down to this root, and it starts to get it's heavy and ponderous. Now, that kind of playing, especially like if you're in a church setting where you're the pianist, and you may be by yourself, or you really need to project. Sometimes that helps playing like that. That's the way to play versus what I'm saying. Versus the other voicing types because they're not as full and don't project as big. So this is never going to project as well as this. So sometimes you need to do that. You need to bang away to kind of keep everybody, especially if you don't have a drummer as well. You got to keep everybody in time. You might have to do that. But yeah, so I'm thinking outside. So I work from outside in. Outside voice first, melody, root, and then what's missing? What can I double? I'm doubling the melody. So start there.
That's awesome. Yeah, seeing your thought process. I like you said the bass, the melody, fill it in. I think that'd be an easy takeaway for today if you're trying a new voicing is bass, melody, fill it in. Thank you for joining us today for part 3 of taking our hymn to the next level. I want to thank Corey for that wonderful lesson showing us how to play our chords in some different and creative ways. Leave us a comment about what you learned today and what you're going to be working on this week. Be sure to check out part 4 next week as there is still lots of good stuff to come on this hymn. And if you have not already done so, be sure to hit that like button and bell notification so you get notified when new videos are released. Also be sure to check out Corey's channel at Skilled Musician and download the free PDF he has provided down in the description box below. And remember, if you're looking for high-quality online music lessons, be sure to check out our website at CanadaMusicLessons.com. We teach a variety of instruments to all ages. Thank you, and stay musical!